Again, like you like each other. So still.
What are you excited for this trip?
I'm excited to go and work.
Awesome. And what is one hope that you have for our trip?
Hope to build my faith.
I'm most excited about like getting to know the people in my youth group more and um, definitely learning from the Yakama Nation.
I'm excited to build stronger bonds with my friends.
My hope that I have is that my service can be helpful to others.
I hope that I can benefit other people in lots of good ways, and I just want to bring smiles and bring joy to people.
That our youth will grow closer together, that they will feel God's love in the service that they're providing. And also, I know this is three things, and also that we will be enlightened and educated on the history of the church in relation to our Native people and the impact that has had on them.
My hope is that the youth learn that service is everywhere, and it really starts with relationships. Relationships with each other who are in service, relationships to the people you're serving with, and relationship to the broader community that we both come from and that we go to, so that those things are lasting and continued. Hey there. Yeah, we're at our first site for the day. It wasn't the site that we thought it was going to be. We showed up to the first site and there was a disagreement. And so it was a quick pivot on behalf of the Slam Trip leadership, and we moved to this spot. But you can see all sides of the house here. We're picking up where other Slam Trips left off and scraping paint, being really careful about that, and then putting on a new coat. And aside from that, like really working on rewiring our perspectives today about like what efficient and good work looks like. I think a lot of times we come to these projects and we think to ourselves, how much can we get done, how quickly? But reminding ourselves that we are part of something bigger. We're not just in isolation. We don't have to get this done today or this week even. Reminds us that we can just do what we need to do at each step of the way. Know that someone else will take it on if it doesn't get done. And so reminding ourselves to care for our bodies, care for the relationships, and do what we can in our time that we have. So that's what we've been learning here at our first day working at our site. What are you looking forward to this afternoon?
I'm looking forward to hopefully actually painting instead of just scraping. Because I've been scraping for like the past 3 hours. That's okay, because I'm helping people.
I learned tonight that it's not just about the perfect work that you have to do, because when we were at our work site earlier, I was trying my hardest to like make the best work that I could do. I was trying to scrape all the paint off perfectly so the paint would stick. And then I learned that it's not just about that. It's about making a relationship.
Tomorrow, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can to help around, but also have as much fun and make as many relationships as I can.
One thing I heard from Mr. Corey that I liked, that resonated with me, was the fact that he talked about listening before speaking. And I feel like so many people are quick to talk, instead of listening. I feel like a big thing in life is to listen and hear about other people's experiences, and you could take so much in. It can change you. As you get older, you want to hear more about other things, and there's nothing bad that can come from listening, I gotta say. So just don't be too quick to talk, and God bless.
We don't have much time for an interview. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn. I think Marina's also excited to learn.
I did learn a lot more than other people did in school, but it's definitely not enough. So all the more I can learn is all the better.
I'm also kind of nervous because I might cry. Okay. I learned about like the treaty and stuff, and like where huckleberries grew, which I didn't know. And then I also learned about like the importance of like animals and land. And I also got a book by Dr. Seuss, Mr. Brown Can Moo. Can you?
We're just finishing up here at Carmen's house and at our second day of work. When people come on missions, especially folks who look like me and maybe you all watching this, a lot of times we come in without invitation and we have an idea of what it's going to be like to help someone, and then we just assume, we make assumptions, and maybe it's not actually what they need. And so what Corey, who's the founder of Mending Wings, was teaching us last night was a compassionate way of doing missions, or as the Yakama virtue might say, Tanaknik, for compassion, would be to come to develop relationships, to listen more than you speak, and then to lead alongside or be led, really.
So this afternoon we went to a place in the valley where we harvested tule reeds, and so Dewey taught us about the significance of tule and what it means to the Yakama Nation. We were taught how to properly cut the tule and tie it into basically a small sample of a mat that you would lay on, and the significance of that and why the uses is not just for sleeping on, but also for rooftops and for laying out as like placemats to lay food on, etc. So lots of uses, just depending upon the season and so forth.
Today I learned that it's not necessarily about doing physical work. It's about growing a community and growing knowledge of the things around you.
So one of the things that we're learning here at Fort Simcoe is some of the history that us Methodists played after the infantry left and after the Indian Wars with the Yakama Nation. The church moved in to this space and created re-education schools, boarding schools that were super harmful to young Indian children in the area, and they would bring them in and not allow them to speak their own language, cut their hair off. And it's really hammering home what Corey has said to us this week. This isn't about us coming into this space to feel guilt about our history, but rather it's to tell the truth about the story and to take responsibility for it. If we can't tell the truth, if we can't recount this story, if we can't stand in these places and bear witness to what Methodists have done in the past, then how can we be responsible going forward?
It's kind of crazy what's happened here, the history that this place has. We've heard about it over like the last 3 or 4 days, but it's now becoming like real apparent and tangible.
So this was a place where the Yakamas came. They invited the Catholic priest to teach them about Jesus, and they wanted to learn the Jesus story. So it was a great relationship until one of the chiefs had 5 wives and couldn't choose to abandon 4 of them so they could meet the Catholic standard of having only one wife, and in fact the Christian standard of having one. So they weren't able to be baptized, but they continued to have a good relationship for the most part. And now we're going to go look at, we'll hopefully have some pictures of nearly original buildings and all that good stuff about this place where it's a very different relationship than the Protestant Methodist relationship.
So what I learned today is really just how poorly the church and people like that treated the Native American kids. I went into the jailhouse today with Marina, and we saw how cramped it was, and it was kind of fascinating, but also super scary at the same time.
Basically, what I learned today is that there's like a story behind pretty much everything out here. Like, even on the ride up, I know a lot of us were like, "Oh, look at that! What's that mean? Oh, wow, that's crazy. That's weird." And then we literally came back to some of the sites we saw, and we're like, we actually found out more history and stuff about it, and I thought that was really cool. So I think there's more than meets the eye.
Let me just start off by saying there was a lot I learned today from Mr. Corey about the natives and the Yakama, specifically the Yakama Wars against the United States. And, the betrayal that happened there is just sad. And for it to be brought to light like that really had changed my perspective. The big thing is forgiveness. I think moving forward, a lot of healing needs to happen, a lot of forgiveness. And, hopefully one day we can make up for what has happened.
So today we are at Sequoia's house, one of the amazing cooks that we've had these last few days that have made all the meals for us. And today we are picking up trash and weeding just so everything looks a bit better.
So far, we've cleaned out the sweat house. It was completely overgrown. There's a tree behind that blue truck, and we chopped that down. Shout out to Leland. And just this whole area that you see around me, there's this bathtub that was behind, and this whole bunch of trash right here. We all took care of it. We scavenged the whole area, picked up trash for the first like 30 minutes. And this is the pile of all the weeds we've cleaned up in the last few hours. So yeah, we did a great amount of work today, and we're not finished. So
I wonder what her name is. That's cute. No color. No color. Just a baby. No color.
Good morning. It's Friday morning, and everyone's cleaning up in there, making sure that the All Nation Center is reset. Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up. I know that on Thursday, kind of the footage after our workday kind of cut off there, and there was a little bit, but not a lot. And I want to explain why that is. Some of the footage we didn't end up taking because either the Yakama hosts were doing something that was sacred that shouldn't be videoed, or we were experiencing something that we really wanted to be present in the moment with. As we wrap up this video and this reflection from the week, think about what you might want to learn from these young people. Ask them after church, get in touch with them, continue to pray for them. They have so much that they've learned that will go beyond what you all have seen this morning. And so please be curious with them about how we can take next steps together, how we can continue to create and recreate and heal our relationship with the Yakama Nation as Methodists, and pray over how you can be a part of that. I hope that you've enjoyed this time and learned a lot from our young ones. They have so much to teach you. I'm so grateful for all of the prayers, all of the financial support, all of the efforts that have gone into making this happen. This is not just this team, this is all of us. And so thank you for all of what you've done.
Thank you!